Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. World Life is Strange fan podcast. This is StrangeCast X Lost Records Journal crossover. I don't think there's actually there is a Lost Records topic. Actually, there is one in this one. This is our Patreon built episode that we have. This is side B of that version. I'm one of your hosts, Adnan and Adam. My co-host Adam Evil is there. Adam, you here?
I'm here, dude. I'm ready for this.
Yes, you are ready for this. We got many more questions. We answered a lot in our first part. We're back for the second part, and we'll waste no time getting into this. So if you are new here, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, turn on notifications, like the video, share your friends. We're almost at 2,100. Well, we're climbing to 2,100 subscribers. I shouldn't be lying about that. So please do help us do subscribing, get instant access to your content as soon as it's available. And StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. So we're available on Spotify with a video version, Apple Podcast. We're available on all those services. We have 50 ratings on Spotify. We have 325 plus followers on Spotify. So please do go and rate us and follow us. You help boost our visibility to other people. So again, this is our Patreon ability episode that we have in mind. We have Patreon questions submitted. You can sign up to the Patreon to get ready for the August episode. We basically open up and a lot of people ask questions, and they can build a custom episode around different topics, among many other things, and we mainly answer those. Adam, should we get into our continuation of this?
Oh yeah, let's do this, dude.
I think it starts on a very spicy note, as you all. So let's get into this.
I like spice.
So we're picking up from where we left off of, because obviously we talked about Max and her rewind part at the end, but Kevin Lackner has gone here onto Patreon and has continued submission, and he put here, feel free to delete / not mention / or lie or lie about this on the podcast if you can't tell us this. Have you heard any rumors about a new entry or a new Life is Strange game?
So we're gonna lie.
I'm a big fan of all the slashes there,
Yeah.
which I do appreciate. And I was gonna, I respect the fact that he's like, you can delete this, and I'm like, actually, the fact that you've put all the slashes means that I'm gonna kind of keep it because it's like,
Yeah.
as you will. Yes, I have heard things among many other things,
Yes.
revolving around Life is Strange, the series, among many other things. I think it's where I can say this. I think hopefully you can agree with this. What's the phrase? I can't remember what the phrase is. Is that all hands off table? What's the phrase I'm looking for? There's a certain phrase in my hand. All decks. The second phrase where it's like it's a phrase where anything is possible. I can't actually remember what it is.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
So basically,
I couldn't remember the title of Goodfellas in the first side, so
we started off strong here. I think the best way I can put this is, and with the way Double Exposure came out, and the way that the game is presented, and the way it was reported commercially, the fan reception, among many other things. If I said something now, it could age like milk within weeks.
I agree. Like,
I think.
So let's talk like things about like in the public eye, things are like you can see off the rip, right?
Yeah.
We can see that the Life is Strange collection is $60, and that's including the Ultimate Edition of Double Exposure, right?
Yeah.
You can already see, like, let's talk about like what we can see from the public eye. It's not doing good, right? If you're a year out and you're selling the Ultimate Edition for $20 less, including 4 new games, they are just trying to make their money back, right? And when they're trying to make their money back, they try to like put everything on the wall. So there's definitely things that are kind of happening. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think there's enough breadcrumb trails if you look online for you to see a picture.
Yes.
And I say that's very clear. I've pointed those out to Adam. I've seen them myself, among many other things, and other people that I've spoken to, among many other things that I do in my spare time, where and when I can get my spare time. There are enough breadcrumb trails that tell you a picture that's being painted. And ultimately, as I said to you before, I could say something this week to you, and it could literally change like that. That's why it's very hard for me to say it, because like, unless I definitively have proof to say what I can say, I can't say it, because it could literally change by the end of the year. Anything could happen. And I think that's where we're currently at, which is it's a ongoing development picture. And
Mm.
it's not for me to cop out, because I don't want to put anything out here, because ultimately, as I said, if I put something out here and it's like it changes and you're like, oh, that happened, it's like, well, that could have been the plan at first. You're just making an assumption there, saying that because I said it and it's that is, it was never intended in mind. I just think that if you look at all the things that I said there and the way that things have been painted, it will tell you what happens next. But it could also tell you that when that happens, where it happens, if it happens. Those are all big questions that you have to ask about. Those are the three questions you have to ask about this franchise now. If it happens, when it happens, and what happens.
Yes.
Those are the three big questions around the franchise right now. And that will paint you a very interesting picture about what happens next, going forward, changing things. There are being focus groups. For example, if you are continuing your series, you wouldn't be doing focus groups straight after the release of another game, or you might be doing the focus groups to decide what's next, or you're changing things, or it might paint you a different picture about long term of the project. It's very difficult to say at the moment. That's all I'm saying at the minute, and things could unfold very quickly before your eyes. And then when they do, I'm happy to talk about them and where and when I see them. But at the moment, it's just very difficult. It's very difficult to say something where, if you look at it as well, people have drowned out the noise as well. Different people who are talking, people's words just being taken as gospel on certain platforms, and you look at it, it's like, well, there's no definitive proof of that claim that's being made there. And you saw how the game ended. There was a very clear message that was at the end of the game. It's like, it's telling you what was planned. And if you ever know about development, production timelines and stuff, it's like,
Mhm.
you know, you don't have to be a psychic mind reader to figure out where things have to go here. You can't pivot away from Max Caulfield Return. There's no way of doing it at this point. You set that
No.
up. That's where
Yeah.
you've shot yourself. Like,
That's
if that wasn't there, then at that point you can do this surprise element, and you literally plastered that at the end of your game. And anything other than that, it looks like an embarrassing U-turn at that point.
yeah.
And and we're not even talking about a studio where they have 4 or 5 studios where you can pump out other entries and made helping set up this other game. It's kind of telling you where things are going. So at the moment, maybe later down the line, maybe at Double Exposure's anniversary, we'll talk about it and see where we can go from there. But I think at the moment, I can't really say anything confidently, because I think that it
Yeah.
is very much a developing, changing picture about the franchise, the perception of it. As Adam pointed out as well, you saw the sales, the multiple sales, the Double Exposure Ultimate Edition being put into a collection bundle. You've seen the collection being announced, no major posts on different platforms about the
They're
collection.
just kind of throwing it out there. Let's try to make some money back. They're literally just
Yeah.
saying here you go. I don't know, but they're doing everything they can just to try and make their money back.
Yeah. I mean, that Japanese analyst wrote that report, and yeah, it aligns with a lot of things that have been said about the game, where it just didn't perform as well to the standard. And you can see with the amount of people that refunded this game and made all the Chloe stuff and other things that happened in Double Exposure's release. So it's a developing scene. That's all I'll say as it is. I think once things become clearer, we'll talk about that. But at the moment, yeah, I
Yeah.
ultimately, my personal feeling is that the next game in the franchise is a death knell on the franchise as well.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
I personally think, and it's going to sound really, I think it's an unwinnable project. And I
Yeah.
thought Double
Absolutely.
Exposure, yeah, and I thought Double Exposure was already an unwinnable project the way that the game sets up. I think this next mainline entry is deeply unwinnable, because unless someone's doing something that I can't see, I don't know how you fix things here. I don't think
Mm.
you can fix things here. I don't think you can fix anything as long as Double Exposure exists in the actual canon of the series. And you soured so many bridges and you burnt so many bridges. I think there's a lot of problems there. So yeah, I think that's my kind of 2 cents on what I can say right now, at least.
Mhm. Yeah. No, absolutely. So, yeah. Want to go on to the next one before we bury ourselves?
Yes, I think we're going to bury ourselves again, because I think Kevin has just gone into the even more of here. Adam, as you can see here, next question. Feel free. Kevin has put these up very good. Feel free to delete / not mention or lie about this in the podcast if you can't tell us this again.
Yeah.
Would you like to interview Hannah Telle in the near future, or is she currently not available or won't talk about DE?
Yeah. I'll let you answer this one.
If you ever know your soccer, there's a famous football coach called Jose Mourinho. And
Mm.
Jose Mourinho, the former Manchester United manager, currently manager of Super League side Fenerbahce, famously did a interview, and it's now a popular GIF / meme where I also use it. And he says, quote unquote, in loose words, "If I speak, I am in big trouble."
Yeah.
That's where I currently stand on this question. Would I love to interview Hannah Telle? Of course I would.
Yeah.
Hannah Telle, I adore Hannah Telle. She's the best thing since sliced bread. Like, her and Olivia Lepore are two of my favorite human beings on this planet outside of Abby and Adam. Just to preface that.
Yeah.
Would I love to interview her? Yes, of course I would. Will I answer those other
Mhm.
two questions? I will do what Kevin said and lie here, and I'm not going to answer those.
Yes. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I think we're gonna leave that.
yeah, we'll leave it
But
there.
I wish her nothing but the best of luck with things. I adore her. I love everything about her. I adore her cats. Um, and yeah, I think with Hannah, she was dealt the hand that she. One thing I don't like is when people online, at least, have put stuff on Hannah saying that she should have pushed back on double exposure and she should have done this, and oh, she's doing it because of like this and this. At the end of the day, I'm going to really be blunt with this and speak with like my profanity. She's a fucking actor, and that's what her job is. She does her acting because if she didn't do her job, they could easily replace her, because an actor's job is to come in, do their job, and do that. And sometimes creative teams will take on input from the actor where it's possible. Some projects they won't. So ultimately, you come in, you do your job, and do that. And if anyone here sits here thinking that Hannah Telle has some holier than thou power to basically shift price
Yeah.
field or something else because of that, you need to wake up and smell the grass, because she has no control of the IP. She's a contractor. She comes in, does her job, leaves, and that's it. And that's what
Mm.
any actor does as well. So put yourself in her shoes and do that, because if you're sitting there saying, "Oh, I wouldn't have taken this role on because of like what they were doing with the story and stuff," she's also an actor who's had a massive trial and tribulation period as an actor. It's been 10 years since her last major role in a video game, and this is the first opportunity she had. She went in there, she knocked her audition out the ballpark, she got her role back, she went and did a performance of a lifetime, and she delivered what she needed to do. And no one's going to sit there and say Hannah Telle under delivered for what she did. She actually probably exceeded all expectations among many other things. So I'm 100% going to defend her here until the day I die, because I really dislike the rhetoric where people like she doesn't care about max or price field and stuff like that. Ultimately, it's not Hannah's job to do that. That's the creative input. You can't do anything about that. An actor comes in, just does their job, and leaves after that. And it's as simple as that. That's like saying, for example, Ashley Birch reprises Aloy, and because Guerrilla Games it's moved from Guerrilla Games to Insomniac Games, and they've changed all of Aloy's story, she should not come back to that character. It's like you find the bills to pay for your livelihood and do other things. It's like it's a pretty cutthroat industry out there. So ultimately, Kevin, unfortunately, I'm not going to answer those second parts of those questions. I have a very good relationship with Hannah. I adore her, and I wish her nothing but the best of luck. She was always welcome to come on here, and I would love to talk to her about her music, for example. That would be amazing to chat with her about that. Because
Oh
even
yeah.
beyond Life is Strange, that's that. So yes, thank you, Kevin, for digging us 2 holes at the beginning of these questions. But it will
Yes.
continue on. Should we go, Adam? I think there's no digging holes. I think from this point onwards. I think. So should we carry on?
Yeah, let's do that.
So Adam, as you can see here, Kevin Lackner, could you think about a perfect conclusion to the Life is Strange games?
Yeah, Life is Strange too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, does that question mean could you think about a perfect conclusion to the Life is Strange games? Does that mean like the entire franchise in general, or does it mean a game?
I think the entire franchise, like conclusion to the Life is Strange games. I, the problem here is that like they've dug themselves into a hole where like there's so many loose ends that it's off of different branches, and like we can go here, we can go there. What about this character? What about that? We've gone so far into the Life is Strange universe, right?
Mm,
That's kind of hard to like pick up a conclusion. Like they've already ruined it with double exposure that like Chloe's either dead or moved apart from Max. So you kind of killed off Chloe. Um I don't think that Ashley Birch has any intention of playing Chloe again. It doesn't seem like it. I And then you also have the Alex Chen, and you also have Steph Gingrich in that universe. There's just so many things that like we've gone in so many different directions that like
yeah.
I don't think there is a perfect conclusion, right? There is no like Avengers Endgame in terms of like Life is Strange. Um, the perfect conclusion was not continuing after Life is Strange 2. Like that's really
Yeah.
it. You've gone off the deep end here with True Colors, and it's just like I don't know, like but
You've broken the DNA of the game. There's always that video
yeah,
with Square Enix's videos. I think it's usually Lucy Hale that's recorded. I love Lucy Hale. I think she's fantastic as a video content creator. But she's doing the voiceover and she's like, it's like Life is Strange's DNA and stuff. I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, that has no meaning anymore after double exposure. I've always said, like, if you got all the directors in the game of all the franchise and you asked them that question, they would all give you a different answer. And that's like
yeah,
how crazy it is, because the DNA of that series has changed so much. And as you said, even when you mentioned like there's no end game in the last game was like setting up what? Like it's just like, oh my god, like where do we
yeah,
go from here? You've literally buried all kinds of different routes where it's like you basically need to end up with like a really weird ending where Max wakes up in her bed and it's like it's all a dream. It's like it
yeah.
like breaks
Like
up into
you even messed up the ending of the storm. Like you messed
yeah,
up the conclusion of what the storm means, and it's just like you trivialized the entire franchise. Where it's just kind of like, how
yeah,
do you perfectly conclude this? There is none. You just kind of like
no.
end things. You just kind of Square just says like we're selling off the Life is Strange franchise, and unfortunately, Don't Nod's probably not going to buy it. So it's just kind of like in everybody's hands. It sucks, and that's what it is. And in fact, like talking about another franchise that I love is Tony Hawk, and the last
Mm,
new Tony Hawk game was Tony Hawk 5, and now we've had 2 remasters from 4 different games, and now people are just
yeah.
saying like, where do you kind of go from here? I think Resident Evil is trying to get back to like what they were trying to be in terms of that, but everything's such a mess right now. That's all you can do. I think it would take years and years of like trying to like gather up the ashes of what Life is Strange was just to end it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna end up trying to fix everything before you can even end it. So it's such a dire task at this point that like I think the only ending you're gonna see is that like Square Enix says like, oh, we're over, we're done. Like it's sold off to I don't know, Quantic Dream or something. I don't know.
If not that, it's just basically chucked onto the shelf and it gets dust and it just sits
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Which
pretty much.
I think that's where the series ends. I don't think it has a naturally definitive, warm conclusion to it anymore, because I think they've put themselves in a
Or
corner where the story is just it's just like all over the
here,
place.
here's a great example. How do you end the Gears of War franchise? Like, how
Well,
do you
logically, you ended it where Cliff Blazinski and Rod Ferguson wrote that third game with the Locust dying, and it was like, oh, perfect, we've now brought peace, and we've done what naturally these kind of games do, where we end it. But no, we had to bring
Yeah,
it back, and then we had to drag Rod Ferguson back on it, and then we had to make the Swarm, which is like this really inferior, poor version of it. And then, oh, what's that in Gears? Oh, wait, Mira's back, is she? Sort of. It
yes.
Raina's become Mira. Hang on a minute, Raina's mirrors dot what? And Kate,
Yeah.
stop it.
And
Stop it.
that's the thing. How do you end that? How do you end the Halo franchise? Like you've dug yourself in such a hole that just kind of like
Do you know
you first had
and I was gonna say my again, it's my usual jerk off point moment as well. Like at least with Metal Gear, I can take solace away from the franchise ending on a high note. Get rid of Survive is just a spin-off thing. The story ends though naturally. Like Solid Snake's story is very fittingly ended there.
yeah.
I never ever wanted to be touched again. It's like he has one of those definitive conclusions. That's what makes me sad, because Marcus Phoenix doesn't have that, because Gears 6 is in limbo land at this point. Like I keep forgetting that game never even surfaced since Gears 5. Max's story is all over the place. Even hate like Master, just leave Master Chief alone. Let him have his story and finish this freaking game off. But no, you keep carrying on, and eventually we get to the point where stories are never ended. I think the same will happen to Kratos. I think that whilst they're still producing good Gears of War God of War games, I think it'll eventually get to that point where they just fall off a cliff because they're not giving their character a natural conclusion point. And one of the more famous examples, and I haven't played it yet, is Kazuma Kiryu, because I know Kiryu's story was meant to be over. They dragged Kiryu back, and I'm like, what are you
Yes.
doing, man? It's like, let Kiryu be, man. Because I haven't played them yet, but I know Ichiban takes over as the main protagonist. But they did Like a Dragon's spin-off one that did the man who raised his name, and I'm like, is Kiryu back again? And it's like, yeah, there
Yes.
he is. And I'm like, of
Yeah.
course, we can't let things just naturally end as it is. So yeah, I think I don't know what the natural conclusion of the series is. It's going to be it gets shelved. That's what it's going to be,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
I think so. I think that's the unfortunate truth, but it is going to be the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam, speaking of which, should we go to our next topic? Because I think you said something that alluded to that as well in maybe what you were
Okay.
saying. And I think it's here, which is that Kevin's put again here. So it's from Kevin. And he's put, could you imagine Don't Nod might return to Life is Strange? Keep D9 for the motion capture and let Don't Nod do the story? Or could you imagine Square not controlling the story of entry as much?
I mean,
Um,
yeah, that literally is the ideal situation. That Don't Nod.
is it?
I do think so.
So
Yeah.
So sorry, let me lace this because one thing I always see when people like give the rights back to Don't Nod. So one thing I always think that people overlook, and this is just my feelings on it, you basically moved your entire mainly Life is Strange team out to Montreal. So a lot of them have moved out there. So obviously Michelle's there, Juliet's there, Luke's there. A lot of people who worked on Life is Strange are there. If you bought back Life is Strange's IP, for example, with Don't Nod doesn't not have the resources to buy that IP back in the first place because it's just
Right.
financially cash strapped. And on top of that, you'd probably have to pay a premium for it as well. And it's for a premium on an IP that's been brand damaged as well. So like you have to think about that as well. If you're buying IP, you're not buying it back with its purity. It's not like, for example, Taylor Swift buying her masters back from Scooter Braun after he's milked the hell out of them. It's like she's still buying the integrity whilst it's still intact. But if you buy the IP back, as Don't Nod does there, for example, what do you do with it? Do you just basically scrap all the
Yeah.
work you've done with Lost Records and give it to Michel and Co? And then on top of that as well, Edouard Kaplan is in France then, and he's done the art direction on the games. Then at the same time, Jean-Luc works with Don't Nod. There's no Raoul Barbet there. Marsha has now left Don't Nod Montreal.
Yeah.
So like a
Where
lot of
is
people who
Raoul
worked on Life,
Barre? Like he's gone.
he
He's in the mountains.
he's going to emerge the definitive conclusion of Life is Strange. It's going to all wake up from his dream. He's going to wake up in his bed and it's going to end. It's like, oh, hang on a minute. And it's going to just flash up on screen saying Raoul Barbet is back.
Raoul Barbe will return.
Yeah, that's the one. It's
I
going to be
will
that
say
bang.
this. In the perfect world, that double exposure was never created. And before double exposure could have been created, right? They
Yeah.
sold the rights back to Don't Nod. And it's not necessarily Don't Nod Montreal, but another
Yeah.
team within Don't Nod that like just needs a project. Michelle and Luke just become what's the word I'm looking consultants.
Omnipotent.
Yeah,
All
like
right. Consultants.
yeah, they become consultants, and yeah, you have Don't Not you have Deck Nine's motion capture studio, and Square Enix doesn't have any say in the matter. That is we're talking about the perfect world situation. What you're talking about, Adnan, is the reality of
Realism.
the situation. Like I think when I say that's the ideal situation, I'm talking about in a perfect world,
Yeah.
perfect circumstances, and double exposure was never made. Yeah, that's the ideal. But yeah, you are absolutely in reality that like, okay, what if that does happen? Donut is probably not going to be able to buy Life is Strange. And
Yeah.
even if they do, what team handles it?
Mhm.
And will Deck Nine still do the motion capture? Like, will
Yeah.
they still do that? I'm sure they want to work together, but just kind of like because of legalities and other projects, I don't think it would happen in a perfect world, but yeah, it sucks to think about
Yeah.
that.
Because like I think like would Donut go back in its current state? I'd find it very hard to believe because of how the contracts work with Square
Yeah.
and the way that even Oscar Gilbert has spoken openly about Donut's relationship with Square, working via contracts, etc. We've done interviews, we covered them on this channel. And I think in the ideal world, what you're saying is I completely agree as well. Because in the ideal world, I think a lot of us would want Donut to go back to the series. But again, like in itself as well, like Don't Know would go back to the anthology model. They wouldn't touch Max and Chloe with that. They had a very clear vision with different things that they were doing with the stories that they did. Life is Strange 2 didn't commercially sell well outside of like Square Enix's expectations in terms of the way that they see the franchise and the way the direction went with it. Could Don't Nod finance the motion capture at Deck 9 on its own? No, because the motion capture is expensive. Hence why they do motion capture, not performance capture, which is what Deck 9 offers. I think it'd be out of their budget realm even trying that. I think in an ideal world where you could pay all the feasible things, of course it would be great. But I think like when you look at the series and where it's at, and then where the developers have gone and stuff, it's very different. It'd be very hard as well because like then you'd be like, oh, give it to a French team. It's like, what is Michel just going to sit late at night supervising the project from Canada? Are you going to move Michel back to France? Are you going to move someone else there? I think in an ideal world, if the franchise and the IP were in good position, you probably would take it back. But I think it's not even healthy because whoever inherits the IP has to deal with with retconning double exposure and all the other stuff. And Don't Nod would be sitting there being like, oh, great, like we've got an IP back, which is quote unquote popular within the niche, but we're now back to square one, essentially. Not Square Enix, we're back to square one. We're back to square one with the series. So I think ultimately that's where it's a very difficult one. I just don't see it happening now. I think it's way too gone, and I think eventually this IP is going to end up shelved or sold to another bidder, as it has been. You saw what happened with the Embracer Group and Square when they bought IPs and stuff like that. So I think like ultimately that's why I think Life is Strange is going to end, because I think they don't have a clear cut trajectory for it. I think Don't Know would have its own logistics trying to buy an IP back like that and having the brand etc. to deal with, and where you go from it and how you structure your teams as well. That's another issue.
Yeah. So I don't think it's gonna happen, but yeah, reality situation is just unfortunate.
Yeah, I think pretty much that. Adam, should we continue
Yeah, let's do
back
it.
into the Kevin takeover? So as you can see here, we are going up, and it's what would you like a new Lost Records to be about, and which main character would you choose?
Um, I would want to say to be like an anthology, right? I want
Mhm.
it to be like something new, but still connected with the same universe. I
Yeah,
want it to be taking place right in the early 2000s. You know,
yeah.
I want it to be taking place maybe in like 2006, like a few years later. Because when does the game take place? 1995.
20. Yes, the young timeline is 1995, and then adults 2022.
Yeah, so maybe 2005 with like a new character, right?
Hmm.
Still in the same like Midwest, right? Like we're doing something else, but like we're trying to see like what the abyss is, like how it shows up, because we've seen again with that Discord chat that
Hmm.
that Michelle said, like, well, this particular abyss is here. So that means
Yeah.
there's other abysses in other areas. And that's just the thing. So I would want a new character, right? And I want Autumn to be kind of the caveat, right? So yeah, I want Autumn to be so it's 1995, so then it's 10 years later, they're all 16. So then
Hmm.
she's 26. She's in her 20s now.
Hmm.
And we have a new character also in high school, right? That we're kind of playing along here. So that's what I want, just like a progression in the story, and just to see like how the abyss works.
Yeah, no, that's true. Interesting. That I like the fact that you set it in between the two games, because you've obviously got quite a lot of room to play with different characters as well, and what's
Yeah,
going on in the games.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Yeah,
Oh, that
it's set place in Philadelphia.
is in Philadelphia. Yeah, the Abyss would definitely turn up there. Feels like
Yeah,
prime for Philadelphia.
yeah. Well,
My idea, I would like for a game to be set in 2022.
mm,
So when the game ends, I think, or around that time in the 2020s, I
ooh,
would like to follow a new group of generation of kids, a young generation of kids, maybe high schoolers, mixtape esque vibe, at least where it's like young group of kids. And I would tell it in 2022 because I would like to connect it with Corey, Cat, and Swan. So I'd like this new group of
mm,
kids to find the abyss that is in Velvet Cove. And I would connect it within the universe. So, for example, I'd want Dylan to be the owner of the Mikkelsen Ranch, and then you connect with Dylan, and she's like kind of a mentor for these characters. Maybe that they get a job, or summer job on the farm at the Mikkelsen Ranch, and through that they learn about the previous events of the game and what have happened. And then I would like for the characters to stumble on the abyss, and then for them to meet the different characters. So it would be quite interesting if somehow, for example, Swan was able to climb out the abyss and emerge in real life, so she can continue whatever's happening. Then she's out there, or no, actually, interesting would be, for example, if you do set in that story and Kat comes out the abyss at that age, when she's at her age when she went into that abyss, and she's at that age, so she's the same age as this new young group of kids in the 2020s, and she's out the abyss and Swan's in the abyss and Corey's in the abyss, and you have a kind of a shifting battle control of the abyss where it's morality good and bad, and you tell the story in Velvet Cove. You have characters that are there and that aren't there. Nora comes potentially by at one point. Autumn comes by as well, so you kind of like connect story plot points. But I would like it to be a story maybe with 3 characters would be interesting, and then a Cat coming out the abyss, and she starts meeting these new characters and interacting with them, and it connects the universe a bit more, and you start entwining things, and then you can open up portals as well, and you can start opening abysses to different locations. Either that, or taking what you said, where it's an abyss in a different location, and they start connecting into different places, and they can move people into different places and stuff. I think that's an interesting point. I'd like it to be new characters, but I'd like it to be new characters that connect to the other characters, and you can tell portions of the story that still can be fleshed out. I'd like Dylan to be a main character within that, where she's like the Mikkelsen ranch owner, and you connect with her, you vibe with her, and she fills you in on strategic plot points that have happened in the previous games. So she's your connection point to other events that have happened at Lost Records. Because like that would be great. Because like, for example, if they're working in the Mikkelsen ranch and you have these 3 characters, what happens if they stumble on Kat's room and it's still the same? Because Dylan hasn't touched it, and you can kind of go in there and you start feeding other plot points that happened in the first game, and you start connecting dots, which would be quite cool as well. And you could tie up other plot points as well, where, for example, it is the belief that Dylan sent the package, but it's like, how did those items get into it? And you could easily put a question where one of the girls says, like, did you send the package to like those girls? In the end, she's like, no. And like, oh. And it's like, and it sets up that tone of like, actually, we're starting to explain other things that have happened. Maybe that's an idea that I have, at least in mind for now.
Yeah, that would be good.
Well, thank you. I think Michelle needs to. We should work with Michelle right now. I'm terrible at writing stories. Adam, should we go into the next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Working away. What a question! Kevin Lackner asked, "What would your beach in Death Stranding look like?"
Oh, I'll let you answer this because I've not played Death Stranding 2.
Yeah, Adam hasn't played it because he's a hater. Even though he has a PlayStation 5 now, he's become across as a crew. He hasn't become a Kojima fanboy yet, but I will make him one, don't worry. So my beach, where my residing spirit would be, that would be interesting. There'd be no whales. I think there'd be people floating in the sky. I think Michelle would be floating in the sky. Adam would be floating in the sky. Abby would be next to him. Johnny Galvatron would be next to him. Luke would be there. Bao would be as well. I think they would all be floating there as a shining beacon for me not to die. And I would repatriate Death Stranding style and come back to life in the real timeline. So essentially, I'm impossible to kill because of my inspiration there. So all my people are there. Adam is on the beach as well, playing bass, because that's what he does. Luke is also playing bass. Abby is singing. Michelle is on the triangle. Ding, ding, ding. Bao is on the xylophone playing. Johnny Galvatron is doing a mixtape of all the entire version. So it makes me happy when I'm there. And then at that point, I just transport myself back to the real world.
Okay.
Great question, that. We need more questions like that. Thank you very much, Kevin. That is my beach, living in eternity, greatness. So yes, we'll move on from that. So Adam, as you can see here, what brings you the most joy in Death Stranding? Oh, these are amazing. Thank you, Kevin. So we continue on the Death Stranding love here. It's amazing. It's a masterpiece. The fact that you can walk through the world. I've never been more annoyed at a game simultaneously whilst enjoying it and then realizing, actually, this is so smart. Like, can you imagine playing a game where you get annoyed that it's raining? Because that's the UK weather. It's like, this is perfect. Like, you get annoyed when it rains and it's cold, and this is what this game feels like. And you're running against rain, which is your enemy, which is a wild concept. And I think it's based on a movie as well from the 70s or 80s. I think Kojima took a lot of inspiration from that for the rain. And then on top of that as well, carrying packages and delivering UPS style, or I can be like a UPS driver and every driver where I just throw the package and it's like, there you go, collect it. It's damaged, it's broken, but it's been delivered. Enjoy. No, I think it's a unique product. That's why I think it's like genuinely it's one of those unique games where I sit there playing it and I'm like, now I remember why I still play video games.
Yeah.
Now I remember why I still love them. And I think that's like the originality. The story is brilliant, it's genius. Troy Baker is unbelievable as Norman as Higgs. Characters are really unique. The story is very eye-opening. Just a lot of mechanics, and I think the gameplay is exceptional. Like it's really exceptional to do things in that game. It's just wild. I'm still doing things. I'm like, this is wild for a developer to think something like this,
Yeah.
like building roads and like doing stuff like that. It's just unbelievable, unbelievable game. So yes, again, that's that. So I will
Yeah,
answer
I
that.
think and like to your point of this, like why it's like why it brings you joy is because it is unique, and then like what you
Yeah,
said about it's why you play games. There's so many games that just like it tries to take advantage of the player to say that like, well, you like this franchise, you like this gameplay, so we're just going to give you this. Currently, right now, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy because I got it free with my PS5
yeah,
when I traded it in. My local game store said like, oh, with every console purchase, you can get a free game. Got Hogwarts
mhm,
Legacy. There's something about that game that it's not
mm,
unique, but it doesn't waste your time in things.
yeah,
Like it takes everything special that was the Harry Potter franchise and puts you in it into a new story.
yeah,
And you're just like, oh man, I just like I think the perfect way to put it is like in the way you put with Death Stranding. A good game brings you joy because like, oh, I like being here. I just
yeah.
like being here. You know what I mean? Rather than just like, oh, I like doing these tasks. No, you have to like being there, you know?
And also, what's smart is, and on top of that as well, I've just never been simultaneously furious with a game as well at the same time as enjoying it. The fact that you're basically playing this game and you're like running away from the rain, you're like, oh my god, this is so annoying. And then you're like, hang on a
Yeah.
minute, you're also delivering packages and I don't have enough weight to carry that. I'm like, but why am I enjoying delivering these packages? Like I
Yes.
never wanted to be a postman. Yeah, I'm really enjoying delivering these packages. There's something about this game which just like is like rubbing me in the right kind of way, and I'm like enjoying every second of that. Agree with what you're saying. So yeah, that's what it is. I could talk about this for hours, but we'll continue on as well because we're going to try and get as many questions in as possible. But thank you for the Death Stranding questions because I'm still on the beach and I'm enjoying every moment on the beach. Speaking on the beach, rank the following Mads Mikkelsen appearances in order: Hannibal, Multiverse of Madness, Sex Education. He was in Sex Education, the
I
Netflix
didn't
show.
watch it. So maybe.
Was he in that?
I
Was it the new
guess.
season? I can't remember. I can't remember watching it. Is he actually in that? I can't remember watching that. I think I bailed on the third season or something. Was it? Was he actually in it? Wow, I think he was in it.
Was
Oh
he?
no, he wasn't. Oh yeah, he was in it. Oh yeah. Oh, wait, that was Mads Mikkelsen. Oh my god. Okay, that makes sense. Right, I got you. That's him and Gillian Anderson as well in a show again. Never mind.
Hmm.
Death Stranding, James Bond, Casino Royale. Your favorites not mentioned here, so I think Rogue One has been left out there, Adam, as you know. Um, so Adam,
So I have
do you got
one that he didn't mention.
what have you got?
This is my all-time favorite Mads Mikkelsen movie. Um, and I want to share with you, and you probably have seen this. I hope you've seen this. Let's put it this
Mm.
way. I hope you've seen this. It is a Danish movie called Another
Oh
Round. Have
yes,
you heard of this? Yeah.
yes,
Have you seen it?
yes.
It's actually such a wonderful story, dude. I believe there is an American version of this that just sucked. But
Hmm.
the original Swedish, was it Sweden or was it Denmark?
I mean,
I
maybe
think it was Denmark.
Danish.
Yeah, it's Danish. So
I
I
think.
believe this is a movie out of Denmark. Great actors. It's all in Danish. So it's like it's not in English. It's all in Danish. But it's a movie. It's a story about what if we all teach drunk? And it's almost like this social experiment. Like we are all better drunk, so why don't we just keep going drunk?
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's just a deep, well told story, and I think Mads Mikkelsen just really like blows it out of the park on that one.
Yeah.
So I would have to rank that like the highest for a Mads Mikkelsen appearance.
Ooh, that is actually it's an interesting shout. That it's a good film though. No, I agree with it. Hannibal. To go off the top of this list, what he's saying here as well, because obviously Rogue One's a very good performance. I think it's a standout in Rogue One.
Yeah.
On this list, I would probably put Hannibal. Hannibal would be top because it's the best performance. I would put Death Stranding second. I think his character is amazing in that he plays as well in there. James Bond would be third, definitely. I love Le Schaefer and the character. I think that was like a built-in role for him in Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I've never watched the Multiverse of Madness.
You're good on that. You're fine.
Am I?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
fine. Yeah, you're
Okay, cool.
it's okay, put it this way. It's one of the better later Marvel films.
Right,
So
okay.
let's put it that way. It's not the best Marvel film, but of the recent era Marvel films, it's one of the better ones.
Right, okay. And then I'm gonna put I'll put Sex Education above it then, and then Multiverse of Madness at the bottom because I haven't seen it. So I think that's my order that I would do with it. I think he's got some great films in there. Hannibal just goes above like Sex Education because like Gillian Anderson and him working both of them, but Hannibal is just seminal. Like that's the best performance anyone could have to replace Anthony Hopkins in that role. He's unbelievable. So yeah, I think that's probably my order. Should we go into a couple more before we wrap up? I don't think we're gonna get through all of them, but I think we can just try and chisel our way through as many as
I
possible.
think the other Kevin has one more question we can get to.
Oh yes, he does. There were quite a few questions here in here. Should we just do one more and then wrap?
Let's do two more. Two more. One from the other Kevin and one from lesser Kevin.
Would you like it to be miscellaneous, non-Life is Strange, or Life is Strange?
Let's do miscellaneous. I like miscellaneous.
Any of these two that pick your fancy that you haven't mentioned? I mean, they're more directed towards me, if anything.
Let's do that. Let's do that one.
The first one there.
That one.
That one. So Kevin asked here, feel free to delete / not mention live on the podcast if you can't tell us or don't want to tell us. After your switch from gaming industry journalism to football side, how would you describe the differences? Did you ever think about journalism, about anything else? What do you think of the current state of journalism industry in general? Do you work from home? There's a lot of questions there in there.
Yes.
To answer those, so after the switch from thingy, there's a lot of differences. Video game journalism is not very much video game journalism at all. It's a lot of copywriting in terms of just a lot of rehashing press releases. And very few people do gaming journalism because it's not a very good paid profession. It's a very poor profession. The quality is very, so ultra niche. It's not as beneficial to people. It's very different because the industries are completely different in terms of the way that they're told and what's happening in that. Did I ever think about doing journalism and anything else? No. I've become very my feelings have changed a lot on journalism, even after I finished my degree in journalism. It pays the bills among many other things, which is the main thing. But yeah, it's not one of those things where if someone said to me, should I go into journalism, would I do it now? I'd probably tell them no, because it probably bleeds into my next part of that response of the way that the industry is at. I think where you said as well, what do you think about the current state of journalism industry in general? It's in a very, very precarious situation amid AI, which is causing all kinds of problems for the journalism industry. I think influencers and content creators cause massive problems for journalism industries because you look at people who are reporting the news on YouTube videos and stuff. They're basically just rereading what journalists are actually writing and posing it off as their own work, essentially. And you kind of sit there sometimes wondering, like, who's this person on TikTok who's got like X amount of views and followers, and you're like, hang on a minute, why are they getting the massive platform when all they're doing is just rehashing the news and telling it? And it's like they're only just telling it because of a personality in that kind of way. And that's a big threat to it. I think journalism is going to really struggle to adapt amid AI and all the different disinformation that is spread out across the world. I think I remember writing a big essay, which I got really good high marks on when I was doing my MA in journalism about Donald Trump and fake media and fake news and stuff. And that looks like a splash in the water for what I was writing compared to where we're at now with like the level of fake information and disinformation that is spread on the internet and the way people latch themselves onto things and what they want to tell and what the stories they want to do. There's a lot of issues with that. And yes, I do work from home at the moment. I work permanently from home. I do 5 days a week from home now. I used to do hybrid in my other jobs and stuff like that, but my main journalism job now is just from home, which is great for an introvert. It's a dream opportunity for that. Um, yeah, a lot of things are happening in journalism. It's very difficult. I think there's loads of stuff that you can talk about, and I think it's just not in a good position. Games journalism is not in a very good position. It's never been in one. And unless you make it yourself as a big name and a high name, you keep a job in it. Otherwise, it's so cutthroat. The amount of people that lose their jobs and go freelancing and keep changing and can't pay bills. I'd sooner just work in a job where I can just pay bills, have a steady profession, and go from there. Um,
I think
but yeah,
that's
very
true with a lot of industries. I can even say for because I work in restaurants, right?
yeah.
Um, that's also can be cutthroat unless you're like big time chef. You're gonna constantly change jobs. You're gonna constantly like lose money. You're gonna constantly like but if you're just like, uh, let's say you're a Gordon Ramsay, right? If you're like
Mhm,
big time, or even like a James Beard award-winning chef, yeah, you're gonna be just fine. But yeah,
mhm.
like it's true for a lot of industries. Unless you're big time name, you're gonna get stomped, dude.
Yeah. I mean, like, journalism would have been great, like, in the 80s, the 90s, when it was, like, developing and you had, like, actual like, most places don't even have a sub-editor now. Like, they don't even do that because, like, they don't want to do the expense with it. Like, you used to have, like, people who worked in newspapers where they were designated sub-editors. There still are, but, like, they were dedicated sub-editors, and they'd, like, go and have to, like, research things and, like, go and pull them off of, like, actual library walls because this was before the internet was happening. And it's like now you just have, like, that being cut out because people are like, "Well, just post it online, we'll just get someone to look over it." And the amount of, like, disinformation and, like, you know, like completely just messed up things. It's very MGS2 coded the world where it's like, the amount of like disinformation that is spread online and the way people perceive things and everything else in between it. It's very difficult for my profession and I've made my industry as well. I think they're all going to struggle within the next 10 years amid the AI avalanche. Like even Google's algorithm changes is causing all kinds of problems for different websites. I've seen websites that have just shut down after a year because of Google just tweaking an algorithm and it's like, good night, see you later, bye bye. And it's like, it's horrible that you basically playing an SEO game, which is what you do on everything as well. It's just awful. TikTok's doing it now as well. Have you seen that as well? TikTok has now gone to 5 hashtags for a video.
I haven't seen any of that. I've been considering deleting my TikTok, honestly.
No, you can't do that. The streak. Do you see that? Do you see that lost-esque moment? Do you know, it's like they're pushing the button, and it was like, actually, hang on a minute. The streak has just reset itself, and it's like, what's happened here? And it's like, I wonder why that is. That was a bit dodgy.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, like I know TikTok's going through something like I know a lot of creator funds are being canceled or something like that. Um yeah, it's just like nothing's permanent anymore. Nothing's permanent.
Yeah.
It sucks. I think that's why millennials and Gen Z change jobs so many times because
Oh
like
yeah.
there is no guarantee. There is no gold watch at the end of your retirement. It's just like you'll be stomped out no matter what.
Yeah, you're replaceable. You're not indisposable. You'll get replaced within minutes. If they have the opportunity. I did see some recent pieces about that. I think like there's one about Gen Z and millennials not wanting to climb the corporate ladder or climb the actual career ladder because it's like, well, I'm content with just doing what I'm doing. I'm getting paid for it, and I don't want to get more work and to get less pay for it, like even like little pay for it. And yeah, career jobs have dead and a lot of other things. Basically, it's just like, and let's just make some for the bills, and then that's it. And that's completely fine as well and acceptable because that's the world that we live in now. Um, so that's that. Adam, should we go to our last question quickly from the other Kevin, and we
Yeah.
can wrap up here? And thank you, Kevin, for the other questions that you submitted. I think we're just not going to be able to get to them now because otherwise we're going to be here for 3 hours at this rate. Um, Kevin Kestis will end this here, Adam, as it says, "For Life is Strange True Colors, who was your favorite love interest for Alex, Steph, or Ryan?"
I I feel that the game leaned more towards Steph than it did Ryan. I favor that because I feel like the writing was a lot more natural than Ryan. Ryan
Mm,
just felt like a good friend, right? I friend zoned him real well. I it wasn't written really in a way that's just like there was a lot of options. It wasn't like Life is Strange where it's just like Warren or Chloe, right? Or neither one. You know, like
yeah.
you could just like go about like choosing neither one. I feel like True Colors really lean towards Steph, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with Life is Strange too as well, with like Steph and not Steph, Cassidy and Finn, like there's a reason to pick either or, kind of like there's, it's equally weighted in terms of the choice you pick there. But with like this one, yeah, the game does always feel like it's drifting towards Steph. Even itself, I feel like you get a bit annoyed when Ryan sides with his dad over you, and it's like, hang on a minute, what? So imagine that, like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm like, what? I'm like, this is a bit, that's not a binary outcome, but I'm still like a bit like, what?
Yeah.
I think Steph's, it just feels like Steph. But again, I think that's another thing Life is Strange could easily do, where they just change and become they pick the choice for you. You either romance this person or you don't romance this person, and just go from there. It's like it'd be more better weighted in terms of a decision than some of the more recent entries.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think Steph is more better though. I think Ryan would have been a good option in other games, and is not the worst love interest option of all. We know who that is designated towards.
Yes.
Mr. Abraxas Society member Bin Lang.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll wrap that up there. So Adam, should we go into our comments of the day and we'll wrap up, and then we'll do spread the arts and we're done here.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Okay, so we're gonna go to our comment of the day and we're pulling up on screen for you guys. It's from Haruko Zoo 1. And this is from the side A episode. They put, when the announcement came out, and this is about Life is Strange collection, I was initially considering purchasing it and giving away my multi-box copies of the series to consolidate space on my gaming shelf. But when I read that not all the games are complete on disc in the box, I lost interest. I'll hoard my original multiple physical copies like an
Mhm.
ancient granny gamer dragon. With a thingy face.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the worst part about game preservation nowadays. It's just like, yeah, you're gonna get the game disc, but not all of them on the game disc. You have to download them. What's that gonna tell the future? Like, you go to like random flea market shops, and you can like
yeah.
pick up an old console and some games with it from back in the day. We're talking
Mhm.
from back in the day in 2005, right? Like like, even think about that, like, 20 years ago, you can
Mhm.
pick up a 360 and some games, and we're still good to go. That was
Yeah.
just 20 years ago. But if you go into the next generation to the Xbox One, right?
Mhm.
There's a lot of digital games that will never see the light of day. There's some things that you can't play on the Xbox One anymore because of this game preservation.
Yeah.
Um and it just kind of sucks in that way. You know, like,
Mhm.
you wanna just have this collection just in one box, but it's like, oh, then you're getting rid of some preservation there, so it is kind of a rip on that front.
Yeah, I agree. I still, even if I bought the collection, I would still keep my other original copies of the game. I'd love to keep them. I've got my Metal Gear ones. I've got all the original versions of them, whilst
Mm,
keeping the collector's box ones. But yeah, I just think that collection. I've seen it on Amazon now. I think one of the other comments that we had on one of our YouTube videos, I think it's from I can't remember who it's from now. But they said that it is now available on other stores. So it's available on Amazon now. It's available on Best Buy and stuff like that. So you can check it out. But it's just not like the price is good. If you've never played Life is Strange, it's good for getting all of them at the same time if you want them and you want to
yeah,
own them.
like,
But
I
the
don't
fact
have
that,
any games on the PlayStation platform,
yeah,
so I'll get it.
yeah, so it's good for that reason. But just like to have like all of them on the disc, that's such the biggest Achilles heel with the series collection, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, very good take though with what's said there in the comment. Should we go into our side B comment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to side B here. We have at the Lost Fan 2010. A very late comment came in, but one that caught everyone's eye. They put, I knew what Adam's hot take was going to be before he said it, but I do agree he has been trolling, saying the only ending is canon, saying that only one ending is canon because he wouldn't disrespect a core piece of Michel's artistic vision like that. If Adam is serious, then just wait. Michel Kolch, or Michael Kolch,
Michael
sorry,
Kolch. Yeah.
Michael Kolch is going to ride out of the Kolch
Kolch.
to hog tie Adam and throw him into the abyss. And if you look at the only reply at the time being, it is Adam responding saying, "Don't threaten me with a good time." um, which I think,
Oh,
bravo. That
yeah.
is a fantastic comment that has been put in there. Oh dear
No
God.
words said. Yeah. No,
That really ticked
and
me
that
though.
that is the thing. It's just like I am definitely trolling in a way that like this is the only canon ending because it is like it's part of Michelle's brilliant writing that like both are true. Both are
Hmm.
true endings. So I'm definitely trolling on that front, but Hey, if he wants to drive me out to Gulch Gulch, I'm good.
That's such a creative comment. That's an amazing comment. It took me. I genuinely saw that as well. I was like doing work. And I was like, look, my thing. I was like, okay. I was like, that's really hilarious. That. So thank you for the comment, Lost Fan. Appreciate it. And yeah, guys, if you do want to leave comments, just leave on each. We would pick out a comment from each side of the podcast. So do leave one on side A or side B, and we'll try and pick out the best comment. And we'll run it into our podcast. Adam, spread the arts before we wrap up.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
you got?
definitely. I brought it up already in this episode, and I'm gonna bring it up again. I actually have been playing Hogwarts Legacy now. I've picked it up for free because when I got the PS5, it was a free game. I enjoy it. Like I think so. Like it's one of the highest selling games in current situations right now, and it
Yes.
keeps selling. And there's a reason for it. I don't think it's like a special game. It's one of those like, oh my god, we'll be talking about this for centuries. Because I do think there are like I do think there are problems with it. What do you call where it's just like your playability of the game, like products of life. I forget
Yeah.
what the situation is. But yeah, like there are some like gameplay elements. I'm like, I'm not in love with this. Um, but in terms of the charm of the game, like flying on your broom, seeing not just Hogwarts, not just Hogsmeade, but like that entire area, right? Like you get into new areas within the game that you didn't even know of. You get to like see the beasts of the game. You get to go to classes. Um I just think that the story is charming in and of itself, and I think that because it's set place in the 1890s, you're so separated from everything that happened in the Harry Potter franchise that
Yeah.
you're in that Harry Potter universe without having to be connected to that universe.
Yeah.
So I think for what it is, man, like I'm enjoying my time. I'm really enjoying my time just being in this world and just talking with these people and putting up spells. And by the way, the PlayStation controller with the adaptive controllers, it
Oh,
makes such a difference, dude. It's so cool, dude.
yeah.
But yeah, no, Hogwarts Legacy. I haven't beaten it yet, but damn, I'm enjoying my time with it.
Nice. No, it's good. It's good that yeah. I do need to play that game. It's been on my list for ages. It's one of those ones that's on my list. The haptic feedback is a very good feature in the DualSense, and
Yeah.
the way they include that in.
I'll say it this way, Hogwarts again, I don't want to say that Hogwarts Legacy, like, oh, you've got to play it. But like, yeah, it's one of those games, like when you get time to play it, it's a solid game. I'm enjoying my time. Let's put it that way. I'm just enjoying my time with it.
No, I'm glad that you are enjoying that, and it's great to see as
Yeah.
well. The one I didn't really have that much done, to be honest, in the week or anything that I played and enjoyed. But one thing that did catch my eye was the new Hellraiser trailer for the game. Um,
Yes.
which blew my mind because I never thought on my bingo card for 2025 that a Hellraiser game would be turning up
Hellraiser.
and single
With
player as
all
well.
those
And
themes within Hellraiser, that would be like, oh yeah, we're gonna just touch base on this in a video game. It's like, whoa.
yeah, it's very, very
Okay.
crazy to see it. So obviously, I think people just said Dead by Daylight there were a bit of a changes where Pinhead had been like I don't think he's been removed. I think he's like been it's been something's happened where they've changed the update where it's like he's not necessarily as accessible as he used to be on that feature. And obviously, people were looking at what's happening in the news, and it's like bang, this is new in-house. It's like
Yeah.
that makes sense. But for a single player Hellraiser game, I'm like, oh my god, that's like my dream that's come true here. And Doug Bradley's back as well as Pinhead, which is amazing as well to see. I'm like, that's so cool. For him to reprise Pinhead again in a Hellraiser project. I'm very excited to see it more. I'm a huge Hellraiser fan, so I'm very excited to see them get that out there, and it looks very interesting. Do you know what? I think people see. I think this is one of the markets that will emerge where it's a single player horror game experiences where it's either Friday the 13th or Halloween, or for example, Hellraiser. I think that Dead by Daylight has had big success, obviously, with the multiplayer side of things, and obviously Friday the 13th, the game was popular. It had its own problems, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre again has had its own problems again with the multiplayer side. But I think there's a market, I think, for single player horror games in this style, i.e., the Alien Isolation format, where it's you're playing as a character, you're being chased by someone. It's a concentrated story. It could be on the lower end of a budget, but I think it'll still look good. So I'm going to share that because I think it looked very cool and it's very exciting to see what happens. I'm going to definitely keep an eye on that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. So I think we're done here, Adam. I think that's the end of our Patreon special episode. Thank you so much for that. Before we wrap up as well, obviously a shout out to our special Patreon users. There's also we have Kevin Lackner, Sundy, Clare McLoughlin, YellowFlash, Jake Churchill, Gordberry Media, Kevin Kestis, and Clarx, who are all sponsors on Patreon. So thank you so much for that. You can sign up to Patreon. Obviously, we'll have a Patreon episode available in August. So if you do want to sign up to Patreon, you can go on there. You can submit questions for our Patreon exclusive podcast, any other interviews we have. You can ask questions. We have a lot of incentives as much as we can possibly offer. So please do go and sign up if you want to. If you do have the opportunity, if you do want to support the channel, that's all ultimately down to you. And obviously, it helps support us with other little projects we're trying to plan out and do things. So it is greatly appreciated for the support. We'll wrap up here, though. So thank you for joining us for this StrangeCast episode. If you are new here, one more time, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, turn notifications, like the video, share your friends. It helps support the channel, helps keep up to date with the channel. And StrangeCast is available on all podcast services. So we're available on Spotify with the video version, Apple Podcasts, we're available on everything. So go and rate us over there, go and download the episodes and go and check us out because you get instant access to the episodes as soon as they become available and you help boost our visibility out to other people. Leave your comments on any of the topics we talk about. We'll pick them out for the next episode. We usually pick one from side A and side B, and we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for the next episode. Take care. Bye.
Later.
Ready for the mosh pit, shaka bra.